So I know this video is long overdue, but first of all, once again, thank you to everyone who has subscribed. I can't believe I'm making a thanks for 1,000 sub video, and now I'm over 1,000 subs, so it's very surreal, and it means a lot to me that people care about what I have to say and actually enjoy watching what I make. So I'm really glad that I get to talk about this and explore my favorites. This is not going to be an analytical essay like a lot of my other work is. This is going to be a lot of opinions, and I have bullet points just to kind of touch upon everything. But as some of you may know, if you follow me on AniList or my anime list, or even just have seen screen caps of those websites that I've put in other videos, you know that I really like just out there comedy anime, and I was lucky enough this year to fall in love with The Vampire Dies in No Time. So I want to talk about what makes it so special and why everyone should at least give it a chance. Before we get into the video, I just want to say I'm going to be taking submissions for a future Q&A video, so I can just keep yapping between bigger video installments. So if you have any questions or anything that you'd just like to share with me, leave a comment and I'll add it in the video. I also want to announce that I have a blog for this channel at the Terminally Online on Tumblr. So just search up theterminallyonline.tumblr.com and it should show up. That's where I'm going to be posting smaller essays and things that don't get to be videos, but it's just another avenue for me to put out my essays and opinion pieces. I will also be probably putting regular reviews or things that don't make it onto my letterboxd there, as well as opinions on music and games and so on. The final announcement is that I have decided to open up a Ko-Fi page. I've been receiving a lot of really positive comments from people, especially on my more personal videos, that you would love to support me. This is not obligatory. I know right now a lot of people are struggling financially, and everyone and their mother's making a Substack page or a subscription thing like Patreon, but this is more like a tip jar. You can subscribe and suggest games, movies, TV shows, anime, so on and so forth for me to cover. You'll be able to vote on polls in the future for future videos. Just a little thing. It's like $1 a month to $5 a month, and I really don't want it to seem exploitative, especially because I'm such a small channel. It's open to anyone who wishes to donate or just wants to peruse what I have coming up. So I'll leave the link in the description and maybe the pinned comment. So without further ado, I'm going to talk about why I love The Vampire Dies in No Time and why you should give it a chance. So this year, when I was watching a lot of comedy series with a friend at night, we ended up binging the entirety of Ososan from season 1 to 3, the 3 movies, all the side content from advertisements to lost episodes. I saw it all. So I began forming very strong opinions on the show and became very attached, especially to the side characters. It was because of my attachment to the side characters that I really hated the movies and season 3. There were some good moments, sure, but most of it's because Karamatsu is Karamatsu, and I was able to, find some light in the darkness. I think the rice balls and the strange feigning of self-awareness is what made it so painful. I really like when shows are genuine in what they convey, whether it be stupid slapstick humor or what have you. So when Ososan ended up leaning into being like, oh, like, this is so stupid, haha, what a stupid joke, it got me really frustrated, because I liked when this show was stupid. I liked seeing Iyami in the saw trap. I liked seeing Yoshimatsu run around on his 4 legs. I didn't need to have anything more serious than that. If I want to see Dekapan and Dayon kill each other in the Himalayas, I'm gonna watch that. I don't expect much from a comedy series. It just has to be funny. And when a comedy series begins shitting on itself, I lose interest. So, having thoroughly enjoyed season 1 and 2, I was looking to recapture that high. It was through my anime list that my friend and I found The Vampire Dies in No Time. I was a little reluctant at first just because we had bad luck up to that point coming to a consensus on what was funny. Like, I loved the daily life of high school boys. He found it boring. Sakamoto Desuka did not age as well as I had anticipated. And my friend also didn't really enjoy something like Cromartie High. We had to find the middle ground. Thankfully, the gamble we took in watching episode 1 of Vampire Dies in No Time really paid off. Every criticism I have of Osomatsu-san is addressed in the series, and I was frankly blown away by how funny it was. It also helps that the transition was smoothed over by the fact that Jun Fukuyama, the voice of Ichimatsu, voices Dreluk, the main character of the series. That's not to say that there really is a main character, though. As someone that really loves the side characters of Ososan, all the side characters of Vampire Dies in No Time are explored in their own way and each have interesting dynamics with all the other characters. Forget having these one-off bits where the characters are isolated from one another, like in Ososan. The characters share this strange social web in the Vampire Dies, and every character gets their own running bit that is constantly recontextualized and revitalized, adding on endless humor to each character dynamic. Also, every character that interacts with different groups of characters redefines every relationship and explores new sides of the cast in engaging ways without losing any of the humor. So if you want to watch your favorite character from Vampire Dies be thrown into different situations, you're going to see a different facet of this character time and time again. Even characters that show up for like 1 second in season 1 are thoroughly expanded upon in season 2. And I'm assuming there's more depth to them in the manga and more gags with them in the manga, but I'm holding off and waiting for season 3 because I'm coping. Guys, there's gonna be a season 3. Trust me, there's gonna be a season 3. So I'm waiting, and honestly, I really enjoyed everything I saw. These constantly refreshed bits between the characters, their dynamics, and the running gags, it makes the show so much more rewatchable, because then you'll start noticing stuff happening in the background. You start to piece together how the characters are and act within their different dynamics and outside of them. And this also plays into why the toilet humor is never as overwhelming as Osomatsu-san. Honestly, I do watch a lot of silly shows with potty humor, and I don't mind it too much, but sometimes it just becomes really overbearing, like in Ososan when the Matsunos are turned to literal turd piles. Not funny, didn't laugh. Because there's so many different character dynamics in the Vampire Dies in No Time, the bits never really overstay their welcome. And even if there's a bit that might become a little redundant, it's put on the shelf for a while before it's propped back like 5 episodes later, so you're laughing with the characters constantly. And the core trio of the show are always a joy to watch, and frankly the highlight of the show, whether it be because it feels like you're watching Waldorf and Statler get divorced, or, you know, they're just like me for real. There is always something to enjoy when you're back at Ronaldo's office. I think the coup de grace of this show is John the Armadillo, which, honestly, enough said. All his bits are as endearing as they are funny, and often they add on to the rewatchability of the series as a B-plot or background gag. And I didn't expect that, because oftentimes the mascot character of a comedy series can be really overly saccharine, try-hard cuteness, but John is really, really cute and likable, and in the midst of all the nonsense apeshittery going on in Vampire Dies, having that little breather of a John segment just makes the show so much more enjoyable. And John also plays into another facet of the show that I find really refreshing, which is the horror tropes that it utilizes, because they're pretty deep cut. Like, John being an armadillo is a reference to the original Dracula movie with Bela Lugosi, and how there was armadillos walking around the castle to make it seem very, like, foreign and scary Transylvania. But this silliness helps reinvent the horror tropes in the series, and it's perfect for avid horror fans like myself, but it's also a great fit for anime fans craving something unique. And I think this is what really separates Vampire Diaries from other paranormal comedies like Summoning Azazel or Hazuki's Cool-Headedness. Because you really only see one side of this, whether it be the occult or like yokai, and the gags kind of bleed into each other, but Vampire Diaries pulls so much from horror tropes worldwide and also throws completely random bits and local humor into the show that it's a breath of fresh air. The show takes place in Shin Yokohama, so a lot of the jokes are oriented around the area, the train lines, the wildlife. So you have like Cleones, the sea butterflies, as a vampiric entity in this. So it's funny because it's such a juxtaposition, and also because it plays directly into the culture of Shin Yokohama. I think it really helps when you're a big fan of anime to watch this, because you may be feeling fatigued with other comedies, but you're also becoming more and more familiar with the cultural gags and the references that a series may make. So Vampire Diaries touches upon every single one of these things perfectly. You have the strong roster of side characters, you have great use of tropes, you have a refreshing take upon these tropes, or just a complete reinvention, I should say. Great gags, nothing overstays their welcome. The roster of voice actors is so packed with legends. You're just swept off your feet every time someone speaks, and it feels like a lesson, whether it be in humor or in culture. So I really cannot recommend it enough, and I could gush endlessly about every gag, but I don't want to ruin the show. I think this is something for someone to experience on their own and draw their own conclusions for, but I know that there's people on my anime list who love to bitch about anything when it's not their own Cocomelon. And maybe I am really biased as a horror fan and a weeb, but I really think everyone should give Vampire Diaries in no time a shot. It's great. I really cannot recommend it enough, and it's big top 10. One of the funniest things I've ever watched. I'm still rewatching it to this day and chilling it, so, you know, maybe I'm definitely biased, but I really think that it is worth looking into, especially if you are like me and fatigued with the current state of anime comedies, and especially if you're trying to look for something like Azazel, Summoning Azazel, Hazuki's Cool-Headedness. I think they're all charming in their own right, like I said, but, you know, it's hard to find something that strikes the perfect balance, and to me, the Vampire Diaries in No Time definitely finds it. So thank you all for listening to me ramble, and thank you all for watching. See you soon.